another surfing highlight reel. Watching these, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is all surfing entails, simply hopping out the back of the lineup, stroking into a wave and joyfully riding it to the beach. But as we've established in my last video on paddling, it's never the case. Most of your surfing sessions are spent negotiating the ocean in between waves. So today I thought I'd shoot a follow-up video on paddling technique and application during your surfing experience. Too often I see even the most advanced surfers making huge mistakes with their paddling efficiency, and it's time to put a stop to that today. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel because this is Hadrip's Lesson of the Week, a show where we release 2 new surf tips every single week. And if you want to join me, come surfing with me. I'm on Instagram and YouTube at Kale's Broccoli. We've been filming these little one-session vlogs over on my YouTube channel where we film an entire surfing session from 2 angles, the GoPro and on the beach and the Sony. And I thought I'd replicate that here today. Except what we're going to do is focus on the paddling component. We're going to film me as I leave the beach and get out the back. And importantly, we're going to count how many strokes and how many duck dives it takes to actually get out the back, just to show you how important paddling is. I've been surfing for 17 years now, so I have developed a good degree of musculature associated with the sport. And it's so interesting to see athletes come over from different sports only to be humbled extravagantly by surfing's unique and very specific fitness demands. Mostly this occurs due to paddling and getting under waves, and I wanted to focus more on the practical application of our technique today. Anyway, let's see how long it took me to get out the back, even though it's a smaller kind of day, as well as how many strokes and duck dives. As you can see, according to those numbers, even though it's really small today, I had to paddle and duck dive quite a bit to get out the back. So I think that highlights the importance of proper paddling technique. See, in the pool, we can do everything right. We can focus on activating our banana properly. We can do those long strokes. However, once we get in the ocean, it's a totally different story. If we go back to see my paddle out today, I want to point out a couple of things. Right about here, notice how when I pop up after a duck dive, that the water is white and filled with tiny air bubbles. These air bubbles, although they can make for some super cool underwater shots, are actually a massive hindrance to your paddling. Just imagine trying to paddle your way through air on the beach. You can't get much grip, right? Well, on a lesser scale, these air bubbles present in the water cause us to displace less water with our stroke, and thus we are not propelled as far forward each time.
So it's important to strategize your paddling through these sticky areas after a wave. Notice how I tend to increase my speed and effort of paddling just as I come up from a duck dive. This is because I want to break free of this bubbly area as soon as possible in order to maximize my stroke efficiency. This increased output, though, is not sustainable and needs to be managed intelligently. After a few aggressive strokes to break free, I slow back down to a normal, breath-regulated stroke. And breathing is actually quite fundamental to setting a good paddling rhythm as well.
The other option that we have is to simply sit and wait until all the bubbles dissipate, but this presents another problem. It means we're going to take longer to get out the back of the lineup, and this increases the chances of a set landing on our heads. Should also occur when you're actually catching waves. Let me explain.
There are different paddling strategies for different waves and positions in the lineup. As you watch me paddle into this wave, notice how I lean forward at the last minute to ensure I catch it. The whole time I am activating the banana shape, but then at the last minute, I actually propel my body and weight forward and down the face of the wave before standing up. This last minute effort is a game changer when it comes to scraping into waves, rather than letting them roll by under you while you waste time and energy just missing them. What you don't see here as well is what my feet are doing. Because I assessed that I was a little too far out to be in the ideal position for this wave, I'm actually also kicking each leg to build speed as I paddle. I might even do this as well to break free of the white bubbly areas too. And like an increased output strategy, I reserve it only for short moments because it requires a lot of energy and core activation to do so. But let's talk about what to do with the feet generally.
Normally the feet should maintain a position that is aquadynamic, allowing us to move through the water with as little resistance as possible.
I like to fold one foot over the other to achieve this, but also allow them to reside side by side at times. A common mistake that I always see beginner surfers make is constantly paddling without good activation of their core and back musculature. The ability to drive through difficult, sticky areas during your paddle out is dependent on having good stroke power, and this comes from activating the banana shape, performing long strokes, and maintaining a strong core. Those with rounded middle and upper backs can benefit from doing some simple foam rolling to loosen the vertebra and allow for a more bananaed paddling position. Simply work the rounded part of the spine by rolling over a foam roller like this whilst supporting your neck. This is not an intense exercise and should be performed slowly with the breath, inwards on the way back and outwards on the way up.
But something else that I should have covered in the last video is your position on the board. It's very important.
Paddling in the correct position, once again, allows for the least resistance when moving through the water. Most boards have a stringer running through them, a wooden piece of structural importance to the board. However, we can also use this stringer as a point of reference for our position on the board. Have the middle of your chest in line with that stringer and you're in the right position. To gauge the best position lengthwise, you should be able to see that the tip of your surfboard is sitting just above the water. There should be no drag or resistance whilst you paddle. The water should be repelled to the sides of the nose, not over the top.
even more to talk about when it comes to paddling and negotiating the ocean between waves, but that's all we've got time for today. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see. Hit the like button. And if you want to come surfing with me on some of my one session videos, join me on YouTube at Kale's Broccoli up here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you soon.